105.1 FM Ibadan.
De Bruyne drifting away from N'Golo Conte. Kevin De Bruyne! Oh, brilliant! That is magnificent! Game changer! Points of world-class difference!
Well, the return of club action looms larger following 2 weeks of international break. One that saw Africans and national teams return to action for the first time since the African Cup of Nations during an international break with no shortage of headlines. There were high-profile debuts aplenty, a consummated great calling time on his international career, and a heavyweight showdown between Nigeria and Ghana. And as we continue to count down to the weekend when the actions resume, let's remind you that a lot has happened. Injuries to key players, what some are also guaranteed to feel rusty. As we count down to the resumption of the league, we will also be bringing you closer to some of the players whose participation in their respective clubs' engagement at this time is in big doubt. Well, it is the 28th day of March, year 2024, and this day in the year 1891, the world's first weightlifting championship took place in London, England, and of course, since then, weightlifting has become an household game in sports. If you didn't know, now you know this morning. Well, very good morning it is to you sports lovers. How are you doing this morning? It is a big, good and bright Thursday morning. But guess what? The day is bigger, better, and of course brighter because you are tuned to the show that can make you a sporting source. So check your time. This is a Sport O'Clock only on Adamimogo 105.1 FM, Adamimogo House Ibadan. And in case you're a first-time listener, this is how we do it every weekday. We come here from 10 in the morning, intimating you with the latest that you need to know in the world of sports, and of course to set the agenda that we put in that sporty mood for the day. And in case you are this regular farmer, let me tell you that welcome on board, and thank you once again for making it a day with us. You already know the menu because you have tasted the value. And you demanded quality sport casting, and of course you are rewarded with a Sport O'Clock on the voice of the light at Adamimogo 105.1 FM Ibadan. And this is the voice of the Super Dickson on radio, Dayo Olujobi, that's my name. And of course this morning, Waju Aki Emmanuel's Dynamo himself returns on the show, and we have a lot to talk about this morning because I've been telling you one thing, that the fact it is an international break doesn't mean that action will stop. We will surely review some big issues as we prepare for the resumption of top leagues across Europe, across the world actually, and not leaving out stories coming from the local arena. Well, I start proceedings this morning talking tennis. Victoria Azarenka continued a bid for a fourth Miami title with a victory over Julia Putiseva to set up a semi-final encounter with Elena Rybakina. Well, for the Belarusian 27th seed who won her last title at the event in 2016, needed almost 3 hours to claim a 7-6, 7-4. I beg your pardon, a 7-6, 1-6, 6-3 win over Putiseva, and for 4th seed Rybakina, she defeated 8th seed Maria Sakkari 7-5, 6-4. 6-7 right there. On the other side of the draw, American Danny Collins beat French 23rd seed Carolina Gracia 6-3, 6-2. The game played very late yesterday, and for former Australian Open runners-up Collins, who is planning to retire from the WTA Tour at the end of the season, could not stop the brilliance of Rybakina. And let's also tell you that for Rybakina, at this time she's just one win away from reaching her first final since losing to Ashley Barty at the Melbourne Park in the year 2022. And in the men's category of tennis, Australian Open champion Jannik Sinner reached the Miami semi-finals by ending Tomac Macha's stunning run at the ATP Masters event. Second seed Sinner used his explosive power and not leaving out his brilliance to win 6-4, 6-2 against the 68th ranked Czech opponent. And for Mechak, who beat Andy Murray and Andrei Rublev to play a first Masters quarterfinal, could not stop Sinner because of Sinner's level that was far above what he could handle. And quickly, let's also tell you that now that everything has been done, Sinner and Alcaraz are now forming what would be yet another rivalry, because for 20-year-old Alcaraz playing Bulgaria's Grigor Dimitrov in the last 8 later today, he might likely face Sinner in the final of that, and that will bring us to what is already looking like a Cristiano Ronaldo-Lionel Messi rivalry, the one that lasted many years. And quick one in tennis, world number one Novak Djokovic as a split with its coach, talking about Goran Ivasic. Well, for former Wimbledon champion Ivasic, became Djokovic's main coach in 2022, having worked with him alongside long-time mentor Manuel Venja since the year 2018. And for Djokovic, who has the joint record of 24 Grand Slam singles title, we now hope that the next coach will get something nice out of him, because for Djokovic, it's been a disappointing 2024 so far. And of course, we are live on Facebook this morning at Adamimogo 105.1 FM. Not only on Facebook, we're also live on YouTube at Adamimogo 105.1 FM. Go on these platforms, drop your comments, and of course, I will take them later on the show. The page again at Adamimogo 105.1 FM. Just go there. Don't forget to share the post, like the comment, like the post, I beg your pardon, and drop a comment. So we'll take them later on the show. Now, I also told you that for Nigeria's the Tigers, they were drawn against some very top oppositions at the Olympics. And according to info we are getting right now from a basketball world governing body, FIBA, they've actually released the official fixtures for the women's basketball event for the Parade 2024 games. And for Nigeria, the Tigers, they will open their campaign against Australia before facing Canada and, of course, host France. Dynamo is here this morning, and of course, this would be a big way to start. Well, it's good one that our ladies will be starting against a very tough opponent, and I won't be surprised at the end of the day if the ladies do very well and they fly the country's flag, and of course, at the end of the day, defeat the Australians. I believe that they can do it, and starting on a very tough note, go a long way in just establishing them as one of the teams to look out for at the games. Good morning, Dynamo. How are you doing?
Yeah, good morning, Dickson. I must say that it's a good morning to be, for all Nigerians. I mean, being alive is such a thing that you must appreciate God for, and then to come and talk sport, which is another exciting thing to really do every day. I think it's also a good thing. But like you said, having to go head to head against the Australians. I don't know what to say about that, because I think that the Australians are not pushovers, particularly when it comes to basketball. They are extraordinarily a very good side.
Yeah.
And the Tigers, if not for the little what you could call lull, or should I call it sleep in the last couple of weeks, probably months in Nigeria, and even in their continental assignment, I would have said that they will be able to put up a fight. At the moment, I'm sorry, I don't want to sound pessimistic, but it's not looking like a battle that they can easily win. At the moment, it's just my personal opinion. I think they will put up a fight. I mean, those ladies are gingered and they are professionals. To most of them actually playing abroad, particularly in the US, and you would know that they've got one or two things to actually add. But would they be able to stop the firepower of the Australians by the time they actually get to the court? Only time will tell. At the moment, I am sorry. I'm trying to wrap my head around the possibility of the Nigerian girls of the Tigers being able to actually get a victory. If they do that, it would be a major surprise for me, but I would also applaud them.
But in recent times, Dynamo, they've been flying very high. Don't forget their latest feat, which happens to be the Continental title. They defeated everyone. There is a new coach around and somebody who understands the game, a very young coach.
The lady,
the lady.
The former international herself.
And if you look at the synergy between the coach and the players, you could see that, okay, they respect her a lot. And they're willing to put everything on the line. Now, I don't know, maybe we're kind of playing down their recent achievements, which happens to be the Continental crown. Now coming on board, going to Paris as the champion of Africa. That goes a long way. But we just hope that the ladies will perform very well and fly very high so that they can do the country proud and, of course, make a name for themselves and for Nigeria right there at the games. Dimachiko joins us this morning. Of course, he joins us right now, but we just need to move on to talk these before we talk other big issues on the show this morning. I will return straight to talking football, and we're going to start from a friendly that was played earlier today. Don't forget that come this Saturday, it is going to be a very, very big one right there as Sunshine Stars of Akure and Adamimogo Football Club will be playing the final of Ondo State FA Cup with the winner of that encounter representing Ondo State. Of course, when it comes to the Federation Cup. And on Saturday, that game will go down in Ondo State. And we told you that the governor of the state, Governor Lucky Ayedatiwa, will be there to just kick off proceedings at the game. And in a bid to getting the players prepared for what is to come at the games earlier today, they had a friendly against Elite FC. And guess what? Adamimogo Football Club defeated Elite FC 3-1 to prepare for that game that will go down this Saturday against Sunshine Stars of Akure. Well, that's a big one from our team. This is according to an update reaching in from the anchor of Adamimogo Football Club, Mr. Adeyinka. Big congratulations to the boys as they prepare for the final that will go down this Saturday. And let's just go on this commercial break. We'll be back to talk another local engagement. This time around, I beg your pardon, it will be the semi-final of the Oyo State FA Cup, the one that will involve Shooting Stars of Ibadan and Adeyemi FC. This is a Sport O'Clock, guys. We'll be back. Don't touch the dial.
105.1 FM, the voice of the Lord.
Ọlọ́run Sam Olúwa lọ Adamimogo yóò tún rìnrìn agbára o. Gbogbo ènìyàn ló máa bọ́ lọ́wọ́ ogun.
Ẹni àfàdúrà agbára ìgbàyàrú tó yá lọ́dún yìí nínú ìpàdé máa jẹ́ mú yẹn. 7 prophetic Saturday and Sunday. Wòlíì Sam Olúwa lọ bàbá Adamimogo. Ní Jésù máa ti pàṣẹ pé lórí wọn lọ́dọọdún rìnrìn agbára nínú ìpàdé yìí. Àkòrí ti 2024. Freedom from family battle. Òmìnira kúrò lọ́wọ́ ogun ìdílé. Láti Saturday April 6 di Saturday May 4. Aago mẹ́fà ìdájí la ó máa pàdé. Sunday 7th April di Sunday May 5. Mẹ́fà ìdájí ni. Àkàìmọye iṣẹ́ agbára ni Ọlọ́run ṣe nínú ìpàdé àdúrà ìlọ́dún tó kọjá o. Ó tún ti pinnu àti ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ọjọ́ Friday làwọn èèyàn ti máa dé sínú àdúrà. Láti rí wòlíì fún 101 counseling. Ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn olórin ẹ̀mí ló máa wà ńbẹ̀. Àtàwọn ìránṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run. Nígbà tí wòlíì Sam Olúwa bàbá Adamimogo yóò máa sọ̀rọ̀ àṣẹ tí yanu á máa ṣẹlẹ̀. Ní CAC Grace of Mercy Diamond Adamimogo Power House. Báòkú Close, Newtown Estate, Ọ̀gọ̀ngọ̀ Àjálẹ̀gà. Gbogbo èèyàn ló máa sọ̀rọ̀ ní iṣẹ́ agbára ohun tí Ọlọ́run tó máa ṣe.
Jésù aláàánú fẹ́ràn tí ẹni tó ń gbọ́ mi yìí nínú ìpàdé àwẹ̀ ohun àdúrà ọlọ́gbọ̀n ọjọ́ tí Olúwa pa aláṣẹ fún wòlíì rẹ̀ Prophet Jeremiah Olútọ́pẹ́ Adéyẹmọ JP CAC Ìkòyí District Revivalist. Ìpàdé àwẹ̀ àtàdúrà náà ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ látọjọ́ kìíní oṣù kẹta. Ọjọ́ mẹ́rin tó parí ẹ̀ máa lágbára yàtọ̀. Tọ̀sán tòru ní Christ Apostolic Church, Voice of Peace Outreach International, City of Peace, ojú ọ̀nà márosẹ̀ tó wá láti Ìbàdàn sífẹ̀ láàrin Akínlàní junction sí Akínọlá junction Ìpẹ́tùmọ̀dù ìpínlẹ̀ Ọ̀ṣun. Jesus the merciful, Jésù aláàánú ló fẹ́ fi àánú rántí rẹ̀. Gbogbo òlérí tó gbọ́ tí ò ṣẹ nínú ìpàdé ọlọ́jọ́ mẹ́rin yìí lolúwa ti fẹ́ bá yẹ pàdé. Bẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ́jọ́ Wednesday ọjọ́ kẹtàdínlọ́gbọ̀n sí ọjọ́ Sátidé ọgbọ̀njọ́ oṣù kẹta ọdún yìí. Ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn olórin ẹ̀mí tó fi bá àwọn wòlíì tolúwa gbọ́ tiwọn ni yóò wà ńbẹ̀. Lady Evangelist Bọ́sì Adéìwà, Evangelist Ṣẹ́gun Adéfilé ọmọ aláṣẹ, Ọ̀dúnmọ̀ráyọ̀ Ilésànmí, Ṣeun Praise, Evangelist Ọláòkìkí Jésù, Lady Evangelist Tóyọ̀sí Akíyá, Prophet Adé Ọlọ́gbẹ́yọ, Prophet Joshua Fádáìró, Pastor J.S. Mákànjúọlá, Prophet Sam Olúalọ́, Pastor Ihò Alálàdé àti olùgbàlejò Prophet Jeremiah Olútọ́pẹ́ Adéyẹmọ JP. Jésù aláàánú fẹ́ báyé rẹ pàdé. Òṣogun tó gbé débẹ̀ tí ò ní gbẹ̀mí lọ́gán.
And it's Adimogo who makes it 1-1.
My name is Mutiu Adepoju, the headmaster. Listen to Sport O'Clock at Adamimogo 105.1 FM, Ibadan.
All right, you're welcome back. This is Sports O'Clock on Adamimogo 105.1 FM. And don't forget that we are live on Facebook on that same dial, Adamimogo 105.1 FM. And you can also get to watch us live on YouTube, Adamimogo 105.1 FM. Well, let's return to doing other things on the show this morning. And I told you that today we are going to have a very big one in Oyo State, Ibadan, to be precise. It will be Adeyemi FC up against Shooting Stars Football Club when it comes to overplay in the final of the Oyo State FA Cup. And for both teams, they've been talking tough. Adeyemi FC saying that they will not be coming into this game to just respect the Oyo State team. Of course, the team playing in the top flight, to just give them that big respect. And for Shooting Stars of Ibadan, they are saying that, well, it is a game against Adeyemi FC, but this game will be taken like we're playing against Real Madrid or maybe other top teams. But let's just see how that game would pan out later today at the Lekon Salami Stadium, Ibadan. Of course, and let's now move on to talking the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Well, for the contingent to the friendly matches against Ghana and Mali in the Moroccan city of Marrakesh, they've departed the Red City with most of the players are flying back to their bases in Europe. A lot of lessons, actually learned as far as that game is concerned. A lot of lessons were learned, and this might just be the right time for us to just look at maybe some of the things. Remember that we've been speaking about the next game, the next time that the Super Eagles of Nigeria will play, and that will be June when we face South Africa in the qualifiers, of course, for the next World Cup. And we did start very well. In case you're not aware, we have 2 points from the opening two games played, and we'll be playing against the Bafana of South Africa, a team that at this moment many are tipping them to return to their, what could be called the glorious days, the ones that they once had. And if you look at them, everything they've been putting into place, and even with the kind of players they select, you could say that these are guys that mean business. So for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, the next time they play, it is not going to be an easy encounter. And for Coach Finidi George, he also said that it was not under pressure to manage the Super Eagles of Nigeria. This time, that is none of our business. It is going to be our business when eventually he gets that job. But now that our players are returning to their respective bases in Europe and beyond, I think it will be good for us to just look at maybe some of the lessons we actually saw at the two games that were played against Mali and Ghana. I read an article earlier today that it's like the Super Eagles are taking one step forward, I beg your pardon, and 2 steps backward. I don't know, maybe how my guys would try to just dissect that. And I told you that Dima is on the show this morning, although he joins us late, but still very much in the studios and ready to rumble this morning. Dima, good morning. How are you doing?
A very good morning to you, Dynamo. Good morning, Dio Lujabi, and of course, good morning, Ibadan. It's always a good time to talk sports. And of course, a lot of things have been happening. We are already preparing to go back into the Premier League and, of course, the action that comes with it. But we are currently, if if I get you right, reviewing what went down during these few days of international break on the European scene, of course, international friendlies here and there, and even the Women Champions League. So overall, it was another good one to see how Europe have been able to grow their football. I always envy them. I don't really know how they do it, but it seems that they already have a hang of it. We saw 3 qualifiers that looked like the final of the Euro Nations Cup, and it was almost like you watching it. You see that passion. The most notable would be Georgia's qualification after 22 years since admission into the footballing world, and of course you saw that very late drama during the Ukraine game, how they came back from behind. It was just beautiful. I wish, this is what I wish for African football. So whenever I'm trying to critique some of our stars, or should I say our so-called homegrown football, it's because I've seen better. When you're exposed to good things of life, you don't want to go backward again. You are looking for a way to bring what is back to the front of you. So we saw these things, and when you compare it with the African matches that featured, you cannot even compare it. It's almost like same old. Somebody was asking me the other day, why is it that it's everything aficioning, we just use muscles to play everything? You can see the technicality, the flow when it comes to the style of play. They were not the biggest team in the world, Georgia, that is, but they had flow. And imagine, I know in maybe if we meet them in an international friendly, we might have the edge against them, considering the fact that we have the experience in terms of footballing play, that is Nigeria. But look at the way they play. Look at the stars they've been able to make for themselves. Their biggest star is undoubtedly a guy playing in a Serie A that is termed the third best league in Europe. And look at what they did for themselves. So this is what I want for African football. I don't critique it because I hate it or because I'm a sucker for Premier League. I want to also enjoy Rangers International. I want to also see shooting stars and talk about them. I want to have this excitement whenever I'm coming to the studio. But we cannot get there if we keep praising non-entity. No, well, I'm telling you, maybe non-entity was a wrong choice of word. Mediocrity would be a better choice of word, because it seems like that's what we always do. Well, we do where it's competitive. It is not. Let's call a spade and do what is right. Okay, now it is obvious that we're right about finishing the judge. and that
actually Flora was looking for you on the show yesterday to drag you. I think he listened to you when you gave that game against Mali to
I gave it to Mali because I expected Nigeria to beat Mali. Who wouldn't expect it? Who would not expect it? But at the end of the day, it was a deserved win for Mali. No matter how you look at it.
Although you were saying that run would end.
I predicted it was going to end because
but our run ended against the Malians.
It's just like saying, okay, if you are a very ardent follower of animation, it's just like saying, oh, who would win between Spider-Man and the Incredible Hulk? You're like, it's not going to be possible. But we know how strong the Spider-Man web is, and if he's very calculative, he can take that Incredible Hulk. So that was what just happened. We were very poor once again against Mali, and it deserved win. I'll stop at that.
Okay.
You see, I think.
Okay, should we give you your flowers first, or maybe before you talk? Because you predicted a very tough game.
I think it was on Tuesday, and I said this because I realized that we can't take anything away from the Malians. Yeah. They've got some good players that are playing in Europe, like it or not. The fact that we really don't know them that much does not mean that they don't have them. And I'll give you a simple example. Most French colonized African countries always seem to have their people playing in most parts of France. From the very young age, they take them abroad to go to that. I mean, first of all, they find themselves in academies within their own countries, and before you know it, once there's a sign that okay, they can play football a little bit, they go to France, and before you know it, they help them to harness their skills, and in no time they start playing good football. Again, if you watch Nigerian Super Eagles for a while, particularly in the Nations Cup, you would know that what we saw against Ghana was nothing but a fluke. And the reason we were able to fluke that was also because that the Ghanaian side was also a very poor side. A well-coached team. The Senegalese, the Malians, Even South Africa would not find it hard to beat
Nigeria.
a Finidi George
led
Tinkard
Super
Eagles. I'm not joking because, okay, I understand that what it was experimenting. You know, it didn't feel the same. Players. The second match, it rested some players, but you could not see anything special in what the Super Eagles actually did. You couldn't see any. I mean, you could not say, okay, this is what technically has been imputed into these individuals. I saw that in the first match, and okay, we'll see.
But you can. I don't think you can impute so much in them, on very short notice. It was.
This is a team that most of them played together.
I mean, to be
at
fair
the
to
Cup
him,
of Nations.
to him,
I'll ask you a simple question. Finidi George has been within
the team
corridors for
a very long time,
which means that he probably understands whatever it is that should be missing. It's not new to that team.
Yeah.
In fact, you could argue that if that opportunity had been given to an Amunike and he failed like this, we should actually give him that benefit of that because he has not been there for a while. Finidi has been there. He's one of the individuals that actually made decisions for them during the Nations Cup, and you don't come. What was the position of Mali in that Nations Cup?
Okay.
That we went to.
But let me quickly just ask this. I remember asking Flora on the show yesterday. Now we have a big game ahead of us, and that's the game against South Africa. Not forgetting the Benin Republic game. And I also said something on the show that Benin Republic, in terms of a name on status, they are very small. But the fact that they have a manager who wants to prove his big statement, Genetro, who once had a spell with the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they will be coming on board also to defeat the Super Eagles. Now that have we lost our fear factor against every other African nations? Now you have small teams are dreaming of even beating the Super. Is that the case?
I say that without any form of equivocation. We have, but it's just that you don't also want to call Benin Republic a small team again because they have been to the Nations Cup severally too. And don't forget that for very many years, they had Nigerians playing for them. Yeah. You could mention if you could mention Omotoyosi, who actually was playing at a point in Nigerian league, and before you know it, he actually changed his nationality and played for them, and a couple of other ones like that. So, like you said, General, I didn't rate him, and I still do not rate him, but it got results for us. Yeah. I mean, while he was there. And a lot of people still feel that it was unjustly, unceremoniously dismissed. That shouldn't have happened to a coach. So he might want to actually do that. But will he be able to do that damage if Nigeria really have their act together? I think the answer is no. We're not. Nigeria is not bad. We've got the crop of players that should be able to easily beat anybody in Africa in terms of talent. See, our forward line is fearsome. It's fearsome. Most teams are going after Osimhen and Boniface at the moment. They want them because they're lethal. They are very, very lethal. But when you don't have good managers of these resources that we have, it becomes a challenge.
All right, let's go on this commercial break, and we're still very much live on Facebook, Adamimogo 105.1 FM, and same also on YouTube. So when we return, we will leave Nigeria, and of course, we'll talk what happened yesterday in the Women's UEFA Champions League. We'll be back.
Ọlọ́run Sam Olúwalọ́ Adamimogo yóò tún rìnrìn agbára o. Gbogbo ènìyàn ló máa bọ́ lọ́wọ́ ogun.
Ẹ̀yin àfàdúrà agbára ìgbàyàrú tó yá lọ́dún yìí nínú ìpàdé máa jẹ́ mú yẹn. 7 prophetic Saturday and Sunday. Wòlíì Sam Olúwalọ́ bàbá Adamimogo. Ní Jésù máa ń ti pàṣẹ pé lórí ìwọ lọ́dọọdún rìnrìn agbára nínú ìpàdé yìí. Àkòrí ti 2024. Freedom from family battle. Òmìnira kúrò lọ́wọ́ ogun ìdílé. Láti Saturday April 6 di Saturday May 4. Aago mẹ́fà ìdájí la ó máa pàdé. Sunday 7th April di Sunday May 5. Mẹ́fà ìdájí ni. Àkàìmọye iṣẹ́ agbára ni Ọlọ́run ṣe nínú ìpàdé àdúrà ìlọ́dún tó kọjá o. Ó tún ti pinnu àti ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ. Ọjọ́ Friday làwọn èèyàn ti máa dé sínú àdúrà. Láti rí wòlíì fún one-on-one counseling. Ọ̀pọ̀ àwọn olórin ẹ̀mí ló máa wà ń bẹ̀. Àtàwọn ìránṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run. Nígbà tí wòlíì Sam Olúwalọ́ bàbá Adamimogo yóò máa sọ̀rọ̀ àṣẹ tí yanu á máa ṣẹlẹ̀. The CAC Grace of Mercy Diamond Adamimogo Power House. Báòkú Close, Newtown Estate, Ọ̀gọ̀ngọ̀ Àjálẹ̀jà. Gbogbo èèyàn ló máa sọ̀rọ̀ ní iṣẹ́ agbára ohun tí Ọlọ́run tó máa ṣe.
The Light Event Center àti The Light Guest House gbọ̀ngàn ayẹyẹ pẹ̀lú ilé ìgbafẹ́ tó dùn wò tó fini lọ́kàn balẹ̀ fún ayẹyẹ yìí tó ń bọ̀ lọ́nà níbi ayé tó tẹ́jú lábẹ́ ọyẹ́ tó ń kú rírì. Pẹ̀lú The Light Guest House àwọn yàrá tẹ́ ó ti máa wo ohun tó ń lọ lágbàáyé ètò ààbò tó péye tó wà níbẹ̀. Home away from home ni.
Òótọ́ ni gbẹ̀gà ayẹyẹ pọ̀ ń bàdàn pẹ̀lú ilé ìtura. Àmọ́ ọ̀kànlélẹ́yìí tó wáyà mi. The Light Event Center pẹ̀lú The Light Guest House. Gbẹ̀gà ayẹyẹ tó gba òbítíbitì èèyàn lẹ́ẹ̀kan ṣoṣo. Pẹ̀lú àwọn amáyédẹrùn, digital screen, dressing room, pẹ̀lú ọyẹ́ tó ń kúrìrì. Ṣé ti The Light Guest House wà ní ká sọ? Níbi tẹ́ ò ti láǹfààní àti mọ bó ṣe ń lọ káàkiri àgbáyé nínú yàrá kọ̀ọ̀kan. Pẹ̀lú free wifi, ààbò tó péye ń bẹ lórí ẹ̀mí àti dúkìá yín ní The Light Event Center àti The Light Guest House. Adamimogo House, Shobande Street, ọ̀rẹ́ méjì Mọ́kọ́lá Ìbàdàn ló kalẹ̀ sí The Light Event Center pẹ̀lú The Light Guest House. Wow.
Home away from home ni.
And it's Adamimogo who makes it 1-1.
My name is Mutiu Adepoju, the headmaster. Listen to Sport O'Clock at Adamimogo 105.1 FM, Ibadan.
All right, so you're welcome back, and let's just move on now to talking other issues on Sports O'Clock. And we start from this coming from Spain. Before we talk about the ladies this morning, Spanish prosecutors want ex-head of the country's football federation to be jailed for 2.5 years after he kissed a female footballer against her will at Spain's World Cup victory. Well, for the Valleys, a man continue to be in that very tight corner despite resigning his position as the head of the Spanish Football Federation. Well, let's just see how that one will pan out. And for Chelsea, talking about the Maes-led side, who are still very much chasing the quadruple this season. They had a 3-0 win in the first leg of the UEFA Champions League. However, they are now through to the semi-finals. They won their game against Ajax, and such is the brilliance of Chelsea ladies. Even if the men are not getting it right, I won't be no. If we do that is what the ladies are proving at this time. And after the game yesterday, Chelsea will now face the winner. I think they will now face, they might likely play against FC Barcelona, who are the defending champions, because for Barca they have a 2-1 lead going into that game against this side from Norway. Brian and Chelsea will hope to make amends for their semi-final. That is if they play against the Barcelona ladies in another game. For Delphine Casarino, she scored twice as 8-time winners. Lyon beat Benfica to progress to the Women's Champions League semi-finals also, and they might likely face Swedish side Akin or PSG over 2 legs in the last 4, with the French side leading 2-1 also after the first leg of the quarter-final encounter. Congratulations to every team that has made it to the semi-finals of this competition, particularly the Chelsea ladies. They are kind of giving the fans something for them to cheer about. And let's talk another big issue also, and this time around it has to do with a transfer for LAFC. Talking about the team in the MLS, they shared a teaser of their next big signing yesterday with a cryptic French message, which actually mean good night, of course. And a moment after, they announced that Oliver Giroud will join them at the end of the season. That's a big one for Oliver Giroud. And I continue to say something that ever since this guy, this is like my opinion, and I will say this with my full chest, that ever since he left Arsenal, seems everything has been working perfectly for him. If he had decided to stay at the Gunners, I doubt if he would have been here, where he is today. After he left, he won a lot at Chelsea. Even from Chelsea, moved to a big club, AC Milan. From AC Milan, now joining at the Los Angeles FC. That's a big one for the 37-year-old at this time, because he will continue to play professional football right in the United States, where the likes of Lionel Messi, Luis Suarez, among other top stars, currently ply their trade. I think it's a good move for him and for LAFC. They are one of the teams that you can't just write off in the MLS, and they are doing good at this time. But then I said something that was that a move away from Arsenal the big thing for him, one that still very much continues to pave the way for him as far as his professional career is concerned.
You know, the beautiful thing about
Dynamo, you are dodging my question now.
No, I'm going somewhere. Don't
Okay.
worry. It's actually the fact that he's one of the few individuals that left Arsenal, and Arsenal fans still fawn on him, still have something good to say about him, and I think, like you said, it's actually a very good decision that he left Arsenal when he did. At that point in time, very many of us actually condemned, including myself, because I felt like he wasn't given, his best, and that explains the reason Arsenal went to get, other strikers, the Aubameyang of this world, and then, like I said, they all came into the picture, and he just had to go. But what he has been able to do since then, I mean, he has surprised so many people, including myself. I mean, don't forget that this guy at the moment is the highest goal scorer for the French national team of all time, and that's unbelievable because
I think one of the most underrated strikers we have in the world.
See, that feat is even unbelievable because there are many good players that have actually gone through the ranks in France that you would not think that an Oliver Giroud will suddenly become such a very well talked about player like that. I mean, you can talk about Michel Platini, you can talk about Henry, you can talk about Nicolas Anelka, you can talk about Gabriel Cisse. Very many of those guys who were potent strikers in their own right, but they don't have as many as 58 goals that Giroud has at the moment for the national team. That's one. That one is a beautiful. And when we talk about club competition, if you had not left Arsenal, it's possible that they will not win all of those competitions because. And you can't take anything away from his brilliance as a player. But while he was playing at Arsenal, I guess it was not really seen. It was not really seen to be given what they really wanted. And I don't begrudge him. I think one of the best decisions they ever made was actually to leave Arsenal. There are other players that left Arsenal too, and they regretted. At the moment, I'm sure the only regret that he would probably have was that probably spent such a long time. And when I say long time, he spent barely 4 years. But those 4 years, he could probably have just gone to another club and done so many great things. But at the moment, you have to really applaud this guy. He's 37 going on 38. And sometimes you realize that strikers that are even in their 20s, they still cannot play football the way this guy is playing. It might not be the very, dazzling, very, very creative and unusually beautiful football player. But what Giroud needs to do with his height, with his left leg, it gets them done.
Well, I think let's also talk this injury crisis in the English Premier League at this time. Not only in the English Premier League, but it seems the English Premier League seems to be affected most when we talk this injury crisis, especially during this just concluded international break. And I will start from Romelu. Although this guy had been injured before the international break, and it will remain injured until at least the end of the season. He has actually opened up on his frustration being forced to miss the rest of the season. And for Chelsea yesterday, they confirmed that the midfielder signed from Southampton will no longer be part of the club's engagement at least for the rest of the season. And ever since he joined Chelsea, Romelu has only played 32 minutes this season, and that's not a good one for a guy brought in to play, maybe not really to rival Moses Caicedo, at least to provide cover. When that one is not performing, you can rely on the other one. But seems Moses Caicedo will continue to play even if he's playing badly. You have no choice because no one to just come into the team and maybe try to just do better than what he currently does. But I think this is not a good news for a lot of Chelsea fans. They are yet to see the best of this guy. And injuries like this can cause a big setback when he returns. He might return to being just an average player and not a guy with prospect.
Well, the truth is, injury is not favorable to any player at all, no matter what rank your position rather you're playing, because you are always at the risk of losing your shirt or your position to a better player, and all a player needs to get is a few minutes of cameo, on the field of play. Look at Maino, for instance. When McTominay was not delivering, he came into the scene, did what he did, and everybody's forgotten his age. They're forgotten that he's a very young man, and they're talking about him everywhere. Although I will still say maybe there is a little bit of a hype. We know how the England media can be, but that man is fantastic, and I think it's the same for Lavia. We brought him in so that we'll be able to compete for the defensive midfield position, so at least to be able to get a kind of should I say competitiveness in that position. Let it be as if we are not wasting money, but it's obvious now that the guy will not be available for us this season, and it's going to be a very sad one for Chelsea Football Club, considering how much they spent on the guy.
How much they even need every other player.
How much they spent on the player who came in injured and played only 32 minutes. It's a sad one, and which means he will collect a whole year worth of salary and will not
do nothing.
and will do not. But on the good side, he's still a very young player. I think he's barely 21, and he still has a long way to go. All he has to do, what he needs to work on beyond getting back to fitness, is confidence, because staying away from football is for a long time can affect your confidence, and
especially as a young guy.
Especially as a young guy, because you feel like, what am I doing? And especially when you find it difficult to break into a team that is good. Chelsea have not even gotten it right, so if he gets back as soon as possible, maybe he can still find his way. But imagine Chelsea now start getting it right. They now have their first 11 figured out. It's going to be really difficult, which means that we have to be loaned out, because he's still a very young player, and they want to take him off at least, because try to reduce the over expenditure on their catalogue right now. So it's a bad one for him, but on the long run, I feel maybe Chelsea would also be considering to loan him out, because that's the only way. I feel like it's going to make the work easier for Chelsea if they loan him out.
But wouldn't that amount to waste of money?
It's not waste of money. Loaning him out so that he can get regular,
and eventually selling in.
Not even selling.
There's no assurance that if he gets loaned out, that okay. If
I feel Lavia was one of the players that was bought to start up the new project that is running on at Chelsea, trying to find new players, even though they've not really gotten it right. But selling him outrightly would mean very bad business. So what they would do is to loan him out, give him regular playing time, which he will not get as Chelsea, and maybe he can get his confidence back. And I feel loaning him would be to like a championship club, or if a middle team table that is looking for a defensive midfielder, and he can get those places. So if he's able to get back to playing, what he really needs to work on is getting a therapist that can help him with his mentality and make him feel like, you are not out and down. You can still make something of yourself. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot of to ask of him, but I think that's the only way he can be able to get back that confidence that we saw in him at Southampton.
And for Harry Kane is back in training and is in line to play the Classical that will go down this weekend. They're talking about the game against Borussia Dortmund. That is what they call any game involving Bayern Munich and Borussia Dortmund, and that's a good one for Harry Kane, although it's looking impossible as far as retaining the Bundesliga title is concerned. But at least playing to fight to the end of the season like they did for most of last campaign, it's a big one. And being part of that fight might also go a long way in maybe lucky trying to get something out of their not too good season at this time. On Facebook, we have this from Abiola Deremi. Say, good morning, sir. Thank you so much. Duke Perao Ayodeji. All right, saying good morning and saying it's good to see you and hear your voice again at Dynamo. Well, the match against Ghana was just a fluke because the Ghanaian team is struggling as well. The Mali match would be an eye-opener for the NFF. Okay, in knowing what they have to do, pick, select, or advocate for the next Super Eagles head coach. Gbemisola Adex saying the star-studded team is the issues with the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Well, that might also be another factor there. I remember this Belgian team. In fact, what many tagged as the golden generation. You have a lot of guys to pick from. Eden Hazard. At some point even, this happened to the Three Lions of England. And if time permits us this morning, we're still going to talk that the Three Lions of England. Any moment from now, I think in coming days, Gareth Southgate would make public his team for the Euros, and a lot of agenda has been set already, from calling an 18-year-old boy to maybe having a lot of all of these young guys in that team. And like I said, if time permits us, we'll definitely get to that and talk that issue. Imam Okikiola saying, well done, sir. Okay, from Ogun State. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. And Mr. Abiola Aderam, you too can be like the guys on Facebook. Go there right now, drop your comments, and don't forget to like the page, like the post, and share that post also. And we're also on YouTube. Adamimogo at 105.1 FM. Now let's return to talking the injury crisis we have already in the English Premier League. And as the international break of the 2023-2024 club of football season draws to a close, a lot of issues at this time. We have a lot of guys who suffered knocks and all sorts of injuries. But although the injury, or maybe the nature of the injuries, are yet to be made public, what we have to talk about this, if you look at Manchester City, they look like this team that has been hit heavily with this injury crisis, and they have a game to play against the Gunners. This game might likely dictate where the Premier League title would go at the end of the day, looking at the form of both teams. Arsenal are looking like a team that will not drop points to the end of the season, because for what happened to them in the last campaign, surely Mikel Arteta would have taken one or two lessons from that not too good experience. Like people say, experience is the best teacher. So hopefully Mikel Arteta understands the task ahead. And for City, they have John Stones out already. He suffered injury. And Bukayo Saka, he had to withdraw from the Three Lions team. Although we don't know the length or maybe the nature of the injury he suffered. We have Kyle Walker also is out injured. We have Andre Robertson of Liverpool injured. Edward Camavinga of Real Madrid injured. Harry Maguire, although people will not care too much about this, but Maguire of recent times, I think you should be worried. He's also one of the guys who suffered a knock. We have a lot of names, but let's just look at the major teams who are looking like they want to win something. Arsenal, City, and Liverpool. Dynamo, this weekend, Arsenal will be up against City. And looking at this injury list, not even forgetting Manuel Akanji is one of the guys in doubt. And these are big names. If Arsenal play against City without some of the guys who could do it for the citizens, I believe that I will be tipping Arsenal to do the double over Manchester City.
I actually don't think it's that easy,
but at the same time, you're happy, right? That is happening.
No. You see, there's nothing to be happy about. And I'll give you a simple reason for that. In the last 3 years that Arsenal has been playing Man City, Arsenal has never played Man City with his own full team too. That's arguable. Partey is still no member of the team at the moment. That's why the fact that he's fit. He hasn't played.
But you can't just rate Partey as one of the top guys now when you have Rice.
The reason you're talking about Rice now is because he has played this season. Partey was the main man for Arsenal last season. He was out of the match. Saliba was not there. Nobody made those excuses for Arsenal. At the moment, Man City has been able to do a great job. Yeah. And they are still ranked as the best team in the world. So the excuse of losing Walker, losing Stones, losing Akanji should not even be entertained. As an Arsenal fan, I'm happy. I'm not going to lie to you, because
that was straight and out.
No, if they are depleted, it's a good thing for me. Yeah. I've never played them with my full squad too. I mean, Jesus was injured. Partey was injured. A lot of players have been injured for Arsenal, and they will pick Arsenal in a very merciless way. But there are different levels. Let's establish that. In spite of the injury that Man City has, they are still a behemoth. Let me use that expression for them. They are still a crazy side. They're still a monster. If you let down your guards, they will punish you. So I'm not seeing a match that will just swing in anybody's direction, very easily on Sunday. It will be a match that tactical nows of the coaches would come to play. And don't forget that the only reason Arteta won the first leg was also because tactically it was superior. What did he do? He restricted what you could call Man City from at least getting shots towards his goal. All through that match, Man City had just one, and it wasn't even on target. So, if he could do this, if he can actually do the same thing on Sunday, which I doubt. I mean, you are playing at the Etihad. you know that a certain Pep will have actually what over and over again
the mistakes he made in the first leg,
last game, and okay, how do we deal with these guys? But really, based on the strength at the moment, a lot of people are saying Arsenal, but I think it's going to be a well balanced game come Sunday.
But now, Dima, could this injury play a big role in the title race? Liverpool, they have their own injury crises, to also deal with. Same could be said about Arsenal too. Bukayo Saka is a big player, whether you like it or not, and not leaving out Manchester City. Could the injury with just 10 games to go in the English Premier League, do you think the injury will play a big way in maybe just showing where the title, whom will actually win the title at the end of the day? Do you think this will be a big factor?
I think it will be a factor, but not the biggest factor, because right now it seems no matter how you look at the three title contenders, they all have something going for them. They all have something that's a morale boost for each of them. For one, each and every one of them. For Manchester City, they want to be the first club to win 4 Premier League titles in a row. It's never been done. So it's mouth-watering to think of it. You understand? There's so much to fight for. For Liverpool Football Club, who happens to be one of the most ravaged of the three in terms of injury, their coach is going. They want to give him a farewell gift. What other way to say goodbye to one of your best coaches ever in the last decade than to give him the Premier League? For Arsenal Football Club, they bottled it last season. They want to make good of their name this season because they've seen that, okay, what Arteta is building is not a one-time thing. It's something that we can continue. So when you say injury, it's almost it will now make people think that the injury is going to stop the players, but it's a collective effort. There is no single player that's been responsible for making sure that these three teams have risen to the top. It has been a team effort all the while. For Liverpool, in fact, the moments where you thought they were going to lose a couple of matches, they won at a stretch. In fact, they just started struggling recently because maybe started turning on the young guys. For Manchester City, they have the deepest squad. By deep, I mean the depth. The first 11,
the second 11 can still punish you.
Can punish the bottom 11. You understand? So, apologies for that. So when you say Man City struggling with injury, easily Ruben Dias will replace Akonji. Easily, Kyle Walker has a replacement. John Stones can also play in that position, but is he also part of the injured list?
John Stones is also part of the guys whose participation is in doubt.
But we know that at some point we've seen some young guys who really flew in that position. I think was it Bob or something. It's not Bob.
You have a lot of them. You can mention Luis a lot,
and nobody can take a Guardiola debut for granted. So you see that the hunger is there. For Arsenal Football Club, this is their chance. Yes. This might be, an opportunity for them because they have Gabriele Martinelli who can devastate them in that Kyle Walker wing, which will, without that, be their weakest link. Because that we've seen Kyle Walker mount that place like it's no man business. Everybody fears him because not only is he the fastest, he's one of the most experienced in terms of playing the Premier League and coping with the tempo of the Premier League. So I think Arsenal has that edge in that Skywalker position. I'm not even counting John Stones and Ruben Dias. Those two can be easily replaced. But if they can take advantage of that position and they have the firepower to do so, I feel like they can cause hurt to them from that particular wing. Except this person now, Guardiola opts for a 3-5-2, which he would not want to do because he has pride. He will want to go all out against Arsenal, and he feels that he has what it takes.
Like the one actually prided against United.
But if he fields a 3-5-2 formation or a 4-3 formation, it balances out that weakness in Kyle Walker because you are now putting two midfielders to be able to cover up, a midfielder and a wing back to cover up for that position, which means you are going to be having 2 on 1 player. But we know how Man City play. They want to hold the ball. So it's now a competition of who makes better use of the ball, not how long you hold the ball. And with the way Arsenal are playing right now, I'm tipping them. That's if they take advantage and Kyle Walker does not suddenly miraculously come back to that position. If they take advantage of that thing, I feel like they would get the goals, but can they hold on to the lead?
All right, now before we go, I would just like to ask the final Dynamo Days on a final note, and that will be a departing shot on the show today. Dynamo a victory over a Manchester City side. Does that guarantee the Gunners their first title in a very long time?
No, but it plays a huge role.
It doesn't. No, it's right.
It does
I'll
not.
tell you the truth.
But a win against City will go a long way.
It will give you that morale booster.
Yeah.
But will it guarantee? I'll tell you the reason. I've checked it.
Just like games to go after the game.
I've checked the fixtures. It still favors Liverpool. I'm serious. See, Arsenal, Man City, okay, favors Liverpool, followed by Man City, and
Then
then
Arsenal.
The fixtures that Arsenal still has ahead of them is not good. They're still going to play Chelsea. They're still going to play.
Please, leader.
No, what are you like?
It's a derby match. It's a derby.
It's a derby match.
You can't write off a derby.
You are still going to you're going to play Man United. In fact, that's the second game to the last second last.
And Man United will want to qualify for the Champions League or the Europa.
They're going to play Tottenham Hotspur at So all of these ones will definitely be a major. They're still going to play, what they call it, Brighton
Brighton.
at their Amex Park.
Yeah.
So it's not an easy fixture for Arsenal. But if they continue with this same momentum, the way they have actually played everybody, like, you know what, we just want to go all out, and they beat Man City. Starting from Man City, that belief will come back. A lot of people will say, okay, you know what, if they can beat Man City, then whoever is coming again with this same level of preparedness, then let's go and get it.
Well, this is how far we can go on this show today. Thank you so much, everyone who listened, to the guys who dropped their comment on Facebook, and to guys who watched us live on YouTube. We say bigger thank you. Omowumi, Grace Alao on Facebook. Thank you so much. Saying well done to the team. Dima Chuku, of course, do good at doing this with you this morning. And we come here again tomorrow. What we're going to do to this Saturday is to continue to talk about what lies ahead as we continue to count down to the resumption of a club's engagement. Dio Lujabi remains my name till I come your way again, and that will be tomorrow for the final dose of the show for the week. Remember to keep on minding your business. Keep on listening to the voice of the light, Adamimogo 105.1 FM. I love you, love me. Some other time we'll surely catch up.